This is the tale of the perfect child. I'm happy that I rarely made my parents cry. I'm happy that I was never the cause of their despair. But sometimes I wonder, would they still love me the same if I didn't do everything just as they pleased? Would they still love me if I broke the rules? Just a little bit. I remember times when mom would whisper in my ear as I stared out the window, they shouldn't be outside playing past 8 p.m. Of course, I would nod in agreement. But the truth is, I was no better than them. I just thought I wouldn't be loved if I didn't do everything right. If you're watching this video, you're probably that child, the one who never caused any trouble, the one who grew up a little too fast, the one who hardly ever gave their parents anything to worry about. And although these are plausible traits, they come with a price, a heavy one, the price of having to keep up that image, the price of always carrying the weight of expectation, of always doing the right thing, of always being the perfect child. The problem with being the good one is that you always have to prove your goodness. It is a vicious cycle like a hamster on a treadmill. You keep running, doing everything people expect, and no matter how many things you do right, it only takes one wrong move, one moment of saying no, or one heated argument where you say something slightly harsh, and people will say, "What's wrong with you? You've changed. You didn't used to be like this. What happened to you?" The good one has to be good, always, even when it's not in their best interest, even when it's exhausting, even when it means putting yourself last, because the moment you sleep, you get to hear the one thing that cuts the deepest. You've changed. You're not a good person anymore. So you struggle to say no, don't you? You do so much for others, but when it's your turn to ask for help, the words just don't come out. You don't want to be a burden, you never wanted to be one. You hold yourself back from doing things that you actually love because you always want to do what's right. You struggle to disagree. The last thing you'd want is to offend anyone. You put the needs of others before your own every single time. And this one's important. Before you take any action, you spend so much time thinking about how others might react, what they might say, what they might think of you. But you never stop to think, not even for a minute, about how happy it might make you. Do you think that's a coincidence? No, that is the price you pay for being labeled the good child. If you haven't understood until now, the perfect child or the good child is someone who grew up never learning how to say no, someone whose identity is shaped entirely by the approval of others, someone who believes the only way they can be loved is by being perfect, by saying yes to everything, by putting everyone else's needs before their own. And in order to free yourself from this heavy weight you've been carrying, you have to understand something important. You are living in debt. I call it debt because your sense of worth was borrowed through compliments and praises as you grew up. Every time your parents bragged about you to their friends, every time your aunt scolded your cousin and told them to be more like you, those moments felt good at time, but they came with interest, because that very same debt is what weighs you down now. It's the same debt that keeps you from saying no, the same debt that convinces you your worth is tied to being perfect, the same debt that forces you to keep putting others before yourself. And in order to break free from this debt, we have to go through a 101, a simple breakdown of what it truly means to be the perfect child and how one becomes one. Principle 1. An escape route. The perfect child develops a strong conscience early on, but it's not a conscience shaped by their own preferences, by their own passions, likes or dislikes. It is built entirely on what their parents find acceptable, respectful, and worthy of love. Their self-esteem isn't truly theirs, it is borrowed, dependent on approval. Their worth is tied to one fragile belief that love is something you earn by being perfect, by doing everything right. The perfect child wasn't perfect because they wanted to be. They were perfect because they believed that was the only way they could be loved. This often happens in homes where the child senses pain, where arguments are frequent, tempers are short, and tension fills the air. So the child decides, quietly, I won't add to their pain. They learn not to make their parents mad. They learn to read the room early, a gift and a curse. The perfect child isn't different from other kids. They want to sneak out too. They want to eat the candy they're not supposed to. They want to say the bad words, laugh too hard, break a few rules, but they don't. Not because they're better, but because they love their parents too much to bring them more pain. They believe that being perfect is how they can help, how they can ease the burden their parents carry. And that belief becomes something deeper, a need for external validation, an escape route. Because for them, perfection isn't about pride, it's about guilt. Every person who chases perfection is in one way or another trying to escape the guilt of adding to someone else's pain. Don't blame your parents. They probably would have loved you just as much, even if you said mean things a couple times, broke a few rules. They would have loved you the same. You never needed to be perfect. That was your naive interpretation of love. No one who truly loves you will stop loving you just because you say no a few times or because you put your own needs first once in a while. And if they do, they never truly loved you. They loved the version of you that served them the most. Principle 2. An in-existence relationship with the word no. It's fascinating, isn't it? How such a small word, no, can carry such heavy feeling of guilt and remorse, even for grown adults. I can only believe it's because from a very young age, you were taught to please. You were taught that saying no makes someone unhappy. And a perfect child? A perfect child never wants to make anyone unhappy. To be the perfect child, you learn to forget that word entirely. Because saying no might make you feel better. But your job as a perfect child isn't to make yourself happy. It's to make everyone else happy. And the truth is, you still do it, don't you? Even now. You just struggle to say no. You don't say yes to everything because you want to help. You say yes to everything because you're afraid that saying no might make someone unhappy, that they might stop loving you. So you keep saying yes and yes, even when you don't want to. It's what used to work when you were a child. If you said yes to everything mommy and daddy wanted, if you acted exactly the way they liked, you were praised. You felt loved. And now, you keep doing it till now, because deep down, you believe that's the only way you'll ever be loved. And don't blame your parents. They probably would have loved you just as much, even if you said mean things sometimes, even if you broke a few rules. They would have loved you the same. You never needed to be perfect. That was just your naive interpretation of love. No one who truly loves you will stop loving you just because you say no a few times or because you put your own needs first once in a while. And if they do, then they never truly loved you. They only loved the version of you that served them the most. And now that we have unpacked what it means to be the perfect child, it is time to talk about something just as important: how to heal, reclaim yourself, and start living for you. If you struggle to say no, start small. Practice delaying your decision. It is hard to say no right away, so instead develop the habit of saying, "I'll check my calendar," or "Let me think about it and I'll get back to you." These phrases give you space, time to consider the request, and time to build the courage to actually say no. At first, it might take some gut, especially if you are used to saying yes to everything for most of your life, but this is the perfect place to start. Next, learn to say no to requests that would cost too much of you. If someone asks for money you can't spare, or a favor that might take an hour when you're already drained from work, just say no. Become protective of your time. Become selfish with the favors you give. Say no until you feel comfortable saying it. You've spent most of your life saying yes. It's time to even up the score. It is not evil to say no. What's harmful is saying yes just so people think you're a good person. Get comfortable saying no to things that might be easy for you, too. If you don't want to help, just say no. Most of the times it's not life or death. People ask for your help not because they can't handle it themselves, but because they know you will always drop your own problems to solve theirs. You might think you're being the hero, but in reality you're just a pawn. This is why so many people never appreciate the countless ways you've helped. You're not rescuing them from something they can't do. You're rescuing them from something they won't do, and they know you will always pick up the slack. So start small. Remember, it's not selfish to say no, it's necessary. Get used to disappointing people. It's a blessing, really, because it reminds them that you too are human, that you have flaws, that you too carry shadows within you. Separate yourself from the belief that you have to be perfect to be loved. Try being yourself, that quiet voice deep inside you that knows exactly what you want, what you truly need. Listen to it, follow it, be unapologetic about it, and watch. The people who truly love you will still be there. They will still accept you. They will still love you. Get used to becoming your priority. Get comfortable with disappointing people sometimes, because that's how you learn to stop disappointing yourself. Subscribe for more videos.